All right, and we're live. I'm here with my frequent sidekick, Artistic Layman,
Hello, everyone.
and Argent's joining us tonight.
Yo.
Alrighty. So, the first thing I guess we'll cover this week, and Luke, it's on my Twitter if you want to bring up like the pictures. But I went to a con, so if you want to.
Oh,
I didn't snap any pictures at the con, but you could snap. Like I bought a couple of things, so you could snap that. Send those pictures up. It's on my Twitter. Trying to watch my money, so I didn't buy a lot of shit. But I did buy a couple of things, like an action figure, a couple of games, like some buttons. I got a couple of manuals. There was a guy selling a lot of manuals, but there's too many games out in Philly. And also, I had Angry Video Game Nerd sign my copy of TMNT on the NES, like the first Ninja Turtle game. And I actually had him sign years ago my Nightmare on Elm Street NES game. James Rolfe is just, like, I just admire the hell out of James Rolfe.
I admire him a lot too.
I mean, he seems to really have his shit together. You know, he's going to be doing this very long term. He's got, more ideas than he's got time. He's got a ton of creative energy. He's married. He has 2 kids. He has, a daughter and a kid on the way.
Really?
He's got his fucking life together. Yeah, and you know what? He never talks about that. He's very good at keeping his personal life personal.
He also, you can tell he really has a passion for what he does. Like, he loves movies. He loves entertaining.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't feel like it's like, because a lot of people like DSP, you can tell they don't give a shit. They hate what they're doing and they just want money.
Yeah, he definitely is. He's very good at what he does. I mean, he's the American dream, really. He got into this, made a huge name for himself doing it. And both times I've met him at cons, I mean, I've had him sign stuff and he didn't charge me to sign it. He didn't, like, I got to him right as he'd gotten there kind of late, I guess, and he was setting up. And I kind of got there and, people were swamping him and a bunch of Aspies are, bugging him and shit. And I just kind of was like, hey, James, can you sign this game? And he's like, oh, sure. He's just super happy to be doing it,
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it just seems like a real stand-up guy. And again, you compare that to certain other folk in that kind of industry.
Well, he also never there's never any drama. Well, there was a bit of drama around the movie, but in general, you just don't see the kind of dumpster fire shit you see with Spoonie or that kind of thing.
Yeah, and again, he keeps his personal life personal. He doesn't. Again, I didn't until he mentioned it with that one update video where he talked about the future of his little production company and all. I didn't know he had kids or was even married because he just doesn't shove that. He didn't try and shoehorn his wife and his daughter into videos or some dumb shit like that. The guy's he's very down to earth but also very professional, and that's quite the balance to strike. Also, Pat the NES Punk was there, and if you haven't checked it out, if you have any interest in retro games, Pat the NES Punk put out a complete guide to the NES library, which is absolutely worth checking out. It's like a $60 big hardcover book, like coffee table book. But I mean, it is a complete guide of the over 800 games published in the 10-year lifespan of the NES.
Wow.
And also it has, although they're much shorter, bios on all the European exclusive, the PAL exclusive ones, short little snippets of unreleased but finished games they know of. And I mean, unlicensed games, Action 52 and those Color Dream games and shit like that. All the fucking NES games are in there, you know what I mean? I had him sign that back in November, actually. He was up in Syracuse. And I was wearing a Trump hat because it was the weekend right before the election. And he actually made small talk with me about the election while not being dickish, or I couldn't even tell you what his fucking politics are. You know what I mean? He was just like, oh, the election's coming up. You're very excited, huh? A big election. He was just so unbelievably professional about it. I was kind of by his booth today because, I mean, I didn't have anything for him to sign or anything, so I just kind of went by and, shook his hand like, hey, love your videos, that kind of thing. And you know, he's got all these, you know, aspy fucking nerds that come up to him like, look, I got this game, I got a good deal on it. And the reality is, Pat could give less of a shit about this supposed good deal you got on an NES game, because Pat has all the NES games, okay? And he got them 15 to 20 years ago when it was still reasonable to fucking get them. So he doesn't care about your supposed good deal, but you know what? He cares about his fans. So he sits there, he makes the small talk, he smiles, he's just stand-up guy, the pair of them. You know, again, when you compare him to certain other folks that are in this sort of industry, I mean, there's no comparison. Games I got were just like Tiny Toons and 3D World Runner. 3D World Runner is kind of a unsung classic on the NES. It's literally just this like guy running in this sort of 3D kind of perspective. And it's such like almost a calming game. I don't know how else to put it. Like its only real gimmick is its fake 3D fucking graphics that were cutting edge for the NES. But I mean, it's a cheap game. You can get it for pretty cheap. And I also got a repro of BS Excite Bike, which was like a version of Excite Bike for the Super Nintendo that had like Mario characters. Think like halfway between Excite Bike and Mario Kart. You know what I mean? But it was only available in Japan, and it was on their like satellite service where you had to like have your Super Famicom hooked up to the satellite, and you could download it and play it, and then it was gone when you turned the game off or whatever, turn the system off. Somebody, I guess, saved it and got it on a card. And, but yeah, it was a good con. I really enjoyed it. There was a couple other things I wanted to get, but I needed to watch my money. But again, you know, guys like James Rolfe and all, I mean, it's just, you know, you could shit on Doug Walker for kind of making a lot of missteps. But what's really shocking is the amount of guys out there like Spoonie that are just, you know, just either they hate what they do or they hate their fans, or it's just a shockingly low level of gratitude to be doing, you know, such a great job. You know, it's just truly just not appreciating your blessings in life. But yeah, I mean, I've never had one of these guys sign a fucking game before, except for Angry Video Game Nerd. Like, I could have had Gaming Historian like sign my Rystar game for the Genesis because he's the reason I checked that game out. But Angry Video Game Nerd is just so much more synonymous with some of the games he's reviewed. I mean, if you are reviewing games, you almost couldn't talk about, say, like Castlevania 2 or the first TMNT without bringing up his review.
Mm-hmm. Well, because like a lot of people just didn't even remember this stuff.
Oh, yeah, he was digging this stuff out when, you know, I mean, so many of his early videos, people were like, oh, shit, oh, yeah, that. But yeah, I admire the hell out of that guy. He seems like just such a great guy.
Mm-hmm.
And on the polar opposite of that, we have Lindsay Ellis. And so a lot of people are messaging me today, and I actually saw it last night. But Mr. Matoga was supposed to do one of his That Guy with the Glasses videos on Lindsay tonight, and he canceled it. Supposedly his reasoning is that aside from, you know, her having an abortion so she could make a documentary about it, and her just, you know, horrific femmy cunt fucking ways, there's really nothing to talk about there. She's just boring. And you know, he's probably right. As much as I want to see someone really take the piss out of Lindsay, because I mean, she has it fucking coming. She is of all the people he would possibly do videos on, she is the worst human being in the bunch by a wide margin. I mean, maybe Spoonie comes kind of close, but
Spoonie's not like dangerous to society. He's just kind of an asshole.
Yeah, Spoonie's a shithead, but I mean, you know, yeah. Lindsay is promoting things that are just, destructive to the very civilization she leeches off of. And also, I mean, it's not quite and again, this is why I really wish he did the video on her. It's not quite confirmed that she's like the rumor is she purposely got pregnant so that she could get the victim bucks on a oh woe is me, I had to have an abortion fucking documentary.
Oh wow, really?
Which, I mean, I'm hardly the most pro-life motherfucker in the world. Okay, I have real problems with abortion, midterm, late term, that kind of shit. But like, I'm not even one of these life begins at conception kind of guys. I don't really think it does. Plan B, I don't care. Fine, whatever. My kind of line is if you can show me there's brain activity, then okay, yeah, I'm going to call that a person. But before that, I really can't. So I'm not even the most pro-life motherfucker in the world. Believe me, addressing abortion is like, if I was king, that wouldn't even crack the top 100 of shit to address. That said, though, holy shit, is that fucking scummy. Like, parading this fucking shit around for victim bucks. Never mind whether she got in the whole situation on purpose or not. That's just like her fucking documentary. If you've never seen it, she's in that picture there. She's holding that little plastic fetus, and like her and her dipshit fucking femi-cunt friends. This was a game where they would take the plastic. It was some plastic fetus that some pro-life group had, because I guess her parents are religious, and oh God, must they be ashamed of her. But like they gave her this or something as like, some anti-abortion type thing. So she'd like, every time she'd travel someplace, she'd take a picture of it next to a monument or something. Like that was just some fucking game. Like honestly, I mean, on the plus side, I'm glad there's not another one of her running around. So, there is that. But I wish somebody had performed an extremely late term abortion on her.
This is true.
But no, I mean, what a scumbag! What a fucking scumbag! Now, aside from the fact that she was going to be the subject of this video that Mr. Matoker canceled, which again, I mean, I'm not even a Patreon of his, so he doesn't have to answer to me. But I think that was.
I think he pussied out.
I don't think he pussied out.
No.
No, I don't think.
This Jim we're talking about, the internet aristocrats.
I have a heart. I honestly think it was just like he just didn't think he had enough to work with here. Because again, you're ripping. It's almost like there's like 5 to 10 minutes of really awesome material, and then there's nothing in her video. I can imagine that's what he was coming across. I just wish he put out a really short video then. If there's not a lot to talk about, fine, but just rip into her for the stuff there is to talk about. And, I mean, he could have, I don't know, he could have gotten into like that fucking Shay's Apocalypse company. I mean, Dan Olson's a borderline fucking pedophile, this guy that works for her. So, I mean, he could have gotten into some shit there. I don't know, whatever. It's his channel, it's his videos. He's obviously got way more of an audience for me. So far be it for me to tell him how to run his shit. But I don't think that was the best move. But again, the other reason she's kind of in the news, as it were, to us, the internet drama news. Dan Olson put on Twitter the other day. Now, Dan Olson is this guy who everybody calls him Pedo Dan because supposedly I can't remember what the hell the thing was. It was something where he tried to I can't remember exactly how it happened, but somehow he was downloading child porn or something, and he ended up, there was some convoluted fucking story of how he was trying to prove that somebody else was doing it or something. I don't know. I can't remember the exact details. Good Lord, she looks like she has a fucking man jaw in that picture. That is not a flattering picture.
Warn me before you put that shit up. She looks like she has Down syndrome in that picture.
Dude, it looks like some dude is.
No, like, please just take.
It looks like a dude is cosplaying as fucking Lindsay. But anyways, so Dan Olson put this on Twitter, like, come to the Cheesecake Factory in the next hour if you want an ass kicking in the open marketplace of ideas. Well, it's. I'm happy to see that Dan at least supports some manner of open marketplace. But anyways, Armored Skeptic decided to take him up on that offer and bring his little blow-up doll shoe on head. And you'll see that in the next picture. And they all decided to pose for this little photo op where they're like jokingly pointing knives at each other. Ha ha, it's all a big joke, isn't it? It's ha ha ha. You know, I really hate the fact that the person I identify most with in that picture is fucking Dan Olson. Because I looked at that picture and I'm just like, no, fuck you. This has not been all the fucking. Dan Olson's the guy that sent out the tweet. He's the guy that looks all pissed in the corner there. Like, I really fucking hate the fact that that's who I'm identifying with in this picture. Because it's like, this is. I don't know how exactly to put this, but it's like, you know, Lindsay was destroying the fucking this nerd hobby. She was advocating things that are just utterly just destructive to people's lives and civilization and shit like that. And I mean, I'm willing to sit down and be civil with anybody, but there's a difference between who I'm willing to sit down and be civil with and who I'm going to sit there and laugh and joke with.
You know, you know what this scene actually reminds me? It reminds you of this picture on a political scale.
Let me see.
There's the Bushes and Obama next, and the Clintons next to each other, and all.
Yeah, it does. Picture. And you know why that's upsetting to me? Because it's like, this is just all a big fucking game to you, isn't it? I think that's why it bothers me. It's like, you know, see, to a much smaller scale, to the Lindsay Ellises and the Armored Skeptics, this is all just a big fucking game, isn't it? It's just about clicks and Patreon bucks with you fuckers, isn't it? Like, you don't give a shit about any of this crap.
No, I hate that whole, like, oh, you can disagree politically, but at the end of the day, it's not personal. Yeah, but it's people's lives.
No, like, you see, I would have agreed with that 5-10 years ago, but these past few years, it was fucking personal, okay? Remember, that Lindsay's side, they were the ones that if you tried to have a civil discussion over the past few years, they hid behind a block button and they screamed rape.
And all they doxed people and tried to get you arrested.
They platformed you. They threw you off every message board and fucking forum they had any control over. You know, they sought to humiliate you. They made it personal.
They were so petty, they shut down the comments on IMDb. No, like, that's how petty they got.
You know? Now look, we're gonna be talking about this later and all, and I want to contrast this with something else. Sargon of Akkad and I think fucking Monday Matt, they were in a panel that Femme Frequency was doing, fucking Anita Skumskizian, and she flipped the fuck out. She got triggered and was like, this person right here, blah blah blah, go and called him a garbage human and all that stuff.
Garbage.
Now again, first of all, what a fucking like little old church lady insult. It's like, at least have some fucking balls if you're going to insult somebody. You know what I mean? But also, like, as I said, I'm willing to be civil. That's different than we're all buddies and we're going to laugh and joke and take a fun picture or something. So I'm not saying do what Anita did. I'm not saying you get triggered and scream "ree," you know, because no one should, you know, somebody disagrees with you don't scream rape. All right. But at the same time, we're buddies now. We're fucking buddies now. And I didn't feel this way. I didn't feel this way with like Lacey Green kind of moving rightward all the way to center left. Because again, there was a certain humility in that. There was a bit of actual honest outreach, it seemed. Maybe it was all a cynical ploy for more fucking clicks. I don't fucking know. But it didn't seem that way. But when I see a picture like that, it just feels fucking slimy. Like everyone involved, this is all just a fucking game to you, isn't it? You know, like this is all a fucking game to you. Like it's like if you're a little kid and you think wrestling's real, and then you see the fucking wrestlers backstage joking when they were trying to kill each other earlier. You know, it's just like none of this means a fucking thing to you, isn't it? This is all just staged fucking wrestling.
Especially when like Obama was like George Bush is destroying America, George Bush is evil, he's the Antichrist. And he's like, oh, that was just a joke.
Yeah, Obama basically called George Bush a war criminal when he was running, which is especially ironic considering he did the exact same shit once he was in power.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, like again, there's being civil, and there's I wouldn't expect you to get elected and then say get the fuck out during your inauguration ceremony or something like that. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I'm not your fucking buddy. All right, we're not fucking buddies, and it's not that I can't be friends with people I have disagreements with. But there is a line there. There's a point where no, we're not fucking buddies anymore. You know, you were advocating terrible fucking things. I mean, Lindsay Ellis would have those two fucking people she's taking a photo op with. If I am to believe the things she supposedly believes, she'd have those fuckers lined up against a wall.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as much as we all make fun of fucking Blob Chipman for his constant fucking freakouts on Twitter, at least he's fucking honest about that shit. At least it's not a big old game to him.
I don't like pretending like the people who you said if you had a chance you'd kill and being like, oh, it was just a joke. It's just we're all buddies now. Just I don't know, it pisses me off.
Again, it's a different. Yeah, you could be professional. You can be civil. You know what I mean? That's different. Like, you know, I'll sit down and debate with somebody, even if I think they're fucking shit or their ideas are shit or whatever. And as long as they're being civil, I can be civil. But that's a lot different than, oh, we're just buddies. No. These are not minor fucking disagreements here.
Well, I mean, Lindsay and her people actively ruined like people's lives.
Yeah.
By
and not in that bullshit way that Anita Sarkeesian claims Sargon ruined her life by daring to criticize her. No, actually fucking going after people.
They doxed people. They went to their employers and they bullied them into firing them.
Yes.
And then if they got another job, they bullied those employers. They're fucking awful human beings.
No, I mean, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised on the Armored Skeptic issue on Head end of things because the pair of them are just borderline soulless attention whores.
Is he a generic anti-feminist or something like that?
He's basically just he's anti-feminist, yeah, but he's all fedora too.
Yeah, he's like a fedora anti-feminist.
And then she's about as hollow as they fucking come. I can't even. I mean, I called her a blow-up doll, and that wasn't even really a fucking joke.
This picture probably has more depth than they actually have in real life.
Yeah, there's more fucking soul in those lines on paper than the actual fucking human beings it's supposed to be. But no, I hate to say it. And what's that meme? Allah forgive me for these words coming out of my mouth. Dear Lord, forgive me for these words coming out of my mouth. But I think I'm actually kind of disappointed in Lindsay Ellis. Like, sweetheart, did you not actually believe all this shit this whole fucking time?
It's worse if this was all just her being an
yeah. If this is all just a fucking game, holy shit! I didn't think I could be disappointed in you, sweetheart. You managed to tunnel below rock fucking bottom. So yeah, I don't know. Like I saw that picture earlier today, and you know, on the surface, I should have been like, "Well, it's good people are talking and stuff like that." Like again, you know, when Lacey Green was trying to talk to people, I thought, "Oh, that's great." You know, okay, fine. You know, Because it did feel like honest dialogue. It did feel like somebody just honestly trying to seek the truth. Again, I don't know if that's her true motivation. I'm not Professor X. I can't fucking read minds, but that's what it seemed like. But that photo op there, I just looked at that and I was like, that just felt slimy to the core. Yeah, that did not, that triggered me, to borrow a phrase. Like I said, I hate to say it, but for the first time in the entirety of my life, and God in heaven, I pray the last, I find myself identifying with Dan Olson.
Sorry, who is Dan Olson? Like,
okay, Dan Olson, he did a bunch of video. He worked under Lindsay's little production company, Shay's Apocalypse. Okay. And again, there's some sort of like scandal where he copied child porn off of something to try and prove that there was whatever. I don't know about that. Everyone makes a joke about him being a pedo because of that weird incident, and he also looks like one. But
at least he didn't claim it was for tentacle porn.
Yeah, he wasn't trying to prove it to his wife and his wife's son or something. I don't know. I'm going to leave that off the table because I honestly don't know the details of that. That said, Dan Olson is a piece of shit. He is as pure shit lib as they come. You know, he'll hide behind the block button and scream rape too. He is just pure 100% just fucking commie. All right. And like I said, for the first, he's the only one that holy shit. He is the most human in that fucking picture, in my opinion. That is again, that's shocking. I don't understand. Everyone's making fun of him, like, haha, look at him triggered. He's probably just fucking disappointed in his boss right now. Like, I thought we were gonna, like, you know, be like he's like I said, this you don't understand, because I'm not even joking here. I am finding myself empathizing and sympathizing with Dan fucking Olson, and this is just all very confusing. Okay. I'm very flustered by this whole thing. Like, I saw this when I was kind of starting to get done the COD. You know, I was sitting down. I was, you know, making sure I didn't fucking spend all my money, which I only spent about half of what I brought there. I was very proud of myself. I showed a great deal of fucking restraint because there was a ton of other shit I wanted. But, you know, I'm checking out, you know, making sure I didn't blow all my fucking money. And then I'm checking a Facebook and a Twitter. And I see this on my Twitter feed. I know it was on a Facebook feed. And I'm just like, you gotta be shitting me. Like what is real anymore? I don't. Again, it's just all a fucking game, these people. It's just, you know, pay me Patreon dollar dues. Speaking of which, do check out the tip jar down below on my video. But no, seriously, I mean, it's just slimy. Slimy doesn't even begin to describe it. All right, I want to move on from Lindsay. Again, it's a damn shame that Matoger canceled his video, but he is supposedly going to cover all the best parts of Lindsay's bullshit in like later wrap-up videos. So at least there's that.
Mm-hmm.
His next video is
Kara, who's left.
He's doing Angry Joe. I know that.
Okay, good.
I don't know. I can't remember if I talked about this before we started the show or not. But I'm really not very excited about him doing Linkara. Like, I feel kind of bad for the guy. Like,
he's just kind of a dumbass.
Yeah, Linkara is not a shitbag. He's not like Lindsay, okay? He's not even a pure asshole like fucking Spoonie. Linkara is... He's kind of douchey.
I don't think he's, like, even that bad a person. I just think he's, like, autistic.
Yeah, he's kind of douchey, but it's just because he's all aspy and he doesn't know any better. You know what I mean? It's like... He's like the fucking, like, aspy dude in The Big Bang Theory. You know, he doesn't realize he's being a fucking dick to people. Like he's kind of smug and shit like that. I get it, but like there he's gonna rip into Linkara because Linkara, it got revealed that Linkara has a very colorful fucking browsing history. And I'm sure, you know, Mr. Matoher is going to rip into that because he just loves ripping into that cringy shit. And I mean, I can't blame him. Don't get me wrong. I'm kind of hypocritical here because I will watch it and I will laugh. All right. I mean, I'm not lying. But at the same time, like Lindsay has it coming way more than fucking Linkara. All right. It's a real shame that hers got canceled. Like I feel a little bad for Linkara. You know, he's not a shitbag. He's just kind of a douche. I mean,
that's a nice thing to say.
I mean, you know, he's not. His videos aren't that bad. Now, the one thing as a comic book fan I can't stand is he gets all he gets all triggered, especially on like Frank Miller comics of like, oh, this was sexist or some shit like that. Not like a super feminist way, but
oh yeah, Frank Miller can't write women unless they're in some way sexualized or something like that.
Whatever, you jack off. Like he rips into this one series DC did called Identity Crisis just because there was a fucking rape in the thing. Like that's like he had this big long list of why he really thinks that book sucked, and the real reason is there was a rape in it and it triggered his fucking delicate sensibilities. But you know what? I mean, supervillains are shitbags, and I have to imagine some of them would rape people. All right. You know, most superhero books are written at a fucking teen level. What do you expect? It's not like they fucking showed it. This wasn't hentai. But, you know, it offended his delicate sensibilities. And, like, that's kind of douchey and shit like that. But his videos can be very entertaining. He's good at doing voices. He's good at the dramatic readings of stuff. His fucking
I have to watch some. I actually used to, because I know nothing about comics. So it was interesting to see him cover the stuff because it was something I knew nothing about.
Yeah.
Would you say, as someone who knows more about comics, that he's knowledgeable about them?
He's pretty knowledgeable about them, and I'm not trying to sound arrogant when I say this. He's not nearly as knowledgeable as I am, but he's pretty knowledgeable about them. He's certainly one of the better comic reviewers I've seen out there when it comes to just knowing the subject matter. But he does have some real blind spots. Like there's a lot of stuff he just won't touch. He just won't even be aware of. Like he never read almost any of the Ultimate Universe at Marvel and that kind of stuff. And it's just for somebody that, you know, is a quote unquote professional, you know, comic reviewer, you'd think he would be more familiar with the shit. For at least for as important as it was in the history of these franchises. But no, his videos are decently entertaining. He's good at like dramatic readings. He's a bit of a pussy in his sensibilities, but okay, fine. I mean, he's almost got the worst of both worlds. Like he was raised religious, plus then he got a bunch of liberal horseshit fed into him at college or something. So he's almost got the worst of both worlds there. And his skits go on way too fucking long or way too fucking cringy. But that's true of the whole lot of them. I mean, you can't just signal him out on that.
Yeah, that's true.
And I will say his actual, like, the only one of those anniversary things at Channel Awesome I ever watched was To Boldly Flee, which I kind of liked, actually. And I have a theory. A lot of people will say, like, they like this one or that one when it comes to anniversary movies for Channel Awesome, if they used to like Channel Awesome. And my theory is, I think 90% of you, probably the one you like is the one you watched first. Because the first one you watch, it's like, oh, that's kind of funny. And then after that, it's like, all right, this is old now. Like I immediately tried to watch the older ones afterwards, and I'm like, I just can't be bothered.
I couldn't watch Kick-Ass. Yeah, that was the first one I saw.
Oh, well. I mean, again, they're not great. I'm not trying to make them sound like they're fucking great. But I watched To Boldly Flee, and I thought it was amusing. And the one thing that actually really did make me laugh was, and it was part of his stupid ass fucking storylines, but the Linkara that was in that To Boldly Flee movie was actually an evil robot duplicate, right? And like partway through, because they're all in Doug's house, got converted to a spaceship. So he starts like assimilating people. He turns Lindsay Ellis into like 7 of 9 from the Borg. Because for being a staunch feminist, she does love to show off her tits.
She used to not be bad looking, to be honest.
She did not used to be bad looking. She was a cute little thing. Of course, she hit the wall, and then she turned like Todd, because it was always the gag that he had to have the face mask and all. He turned him into RoboCop. So I don't know. I just kind of thought that shit was funny. Again, like I said, I don't think Lin Carr's bad. I think he gets a little too much shit. But I definitely do understand why he gets shit. All right, speaking of comics, real quick, I want to cover this was in a new issue of Luke Cage. Can you bring up this panel for this page from this Luke Cage comic, Luke? It was in our Facebook group.
Right here?
Yep. All right, I kind of scroll out so you see the whole thing. I just want to ask everybody, does this maybe look familiar to you? Does this maybe look like, oh, I've seen this shit before somewhere, you know? And then, yeah, bring up the webcomic. You'll see it in one of the replies under it.
There it is.
Yeah, so the artist in Luke Cage, I mean, really, now I know it's not scene for scene or shit like that, but really just, because this panel in this page in this webcomic has become a meme. And constantly I'm seeing a lot of these lazy ass fucking artists in these comics just fucking ripping off memes. Like there's no fucking adult supervision at Marvel anymore. It's really sad.
Didn't you say Marvel's thinking of abandoning some of the SJW stuff?
Marvel is starting to move away from it, yes. The problem
is so unprofitable.
Yes, it is. It is absolutely sinking them. Now, they do have Disney behind them, so they can afford to lose some money. But after a while, you know, even the higher-ups at Disney are going to be, what the fuck's going on over here? Because, yeah, the publishing wing at Marvel and DC for Warner Brothers, it's never going to be raking in the dough. But as popular as superheroes are right now, it should at least be a little bit in the black. Now, Marvel is starting to move away from that shit. The problem is they have so many story arcs where they basically have to like wrap up involved in this shit. Like the Captain America is a Nazi shit. They got to let that wrap out. Because, I mean, they made a big fucking event based off of it that they finally gave in after issue 1 of it tanked.
Well, at least not the Clone Saga from Spider-Man.
I pine for the days of the fucking Clone Saga from Spider-Man. But yeah, it just hang on. Oh yeah, Luke just brought something up in the Skype there. But yeah, there was also, you can bring up the realistic bodies for superheroes too while we're on the subject. Because again, this is just fucking leftism run rampant. And I see these fucking lists pop up all the time where it's like, artists reimagine superheroes as fat asses. And it's like realistic bodies. Here's what's really fucking triggering about this shit, okay? First of all, superheroes aren't fucking realistic, okay? A lot of them have goddamn magic powers. All right? So we're not talking about realism here, but all right, fine. Here's the thing, though. I don't know if you knew this, liberals, but athletes fucking exist, right? And they're not fat asses. And you know why they're not fat asses? Because their chosen profession demands they be a peak physical condition. In fact, the actors that portray these superheroes on the big screen, they also actually exist. And they maintain themselves in peak physical condition, except Scarlett Johansson did kind of let herself go just a touch from Iron Man 2 to Avengers.
I mean, they have to be in good shape to do a lot of the acting,
yeah,
to be honest.
But that's the thing, like, look, You could maybe, if you want to really analyze the quote unquote science of shit, argue that maybe, Superman could actually be fat because, everything he does requires such little effort. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost hard for him to strain himself and actually work out. You could maybe argue some shit like that. But by and large, superheroes would be in good shape because fighting fucking criminals and monsters and shit was probably works you out pretty good. All right.
Well, and they'd spend a lot of time training.
Yeah, I have to imagine, fighting fucking Dr. Octopus burns a few calories there, all right? And then especially, like, they'll show, like, Harley Quinn or Black Panther or Batman or something all fat, especially the ones that don't even have superpowers to fall back on. They especially have to be ripped as shit.
I imagine Batman spends, like, most of his free time working out and training and stuff.
That's something I always liked in the Arrow show. Like almost always when you see downtime in the hideout and shit like that, like Oliver Queen is just working out like a madman, and that actor does all that shit. Like there's that one thing he does, like the pull-ups where he gets the bar to jump to the next rung and shit like that. That's like some shit Navy SEALs do or something. And
this one really got my attention. And isn't Cyborg technically have no body to speak of?
Yeah, Cyborg is mostly fucking metal. Why would you make the metal body parts fat? Who would build that?
Although, to be fair, he could be hiding weapons in that mass.
Yeah, he's hiding fucking something in that.
Does Cyborg even eat food?
I would think he probably has to have some sort of organic.
Maybe it's intravenous? Because
it might be some sort of paste or something. I don't really know how much of him is still fucking organic or not. And then Gamora, because
that was like a joke in one of the Teen Titans episode, or like a point in one of the Teen Titans episode. He's trying to work out with everyone, but he can't work out any harder than he already has because he's a machine. He can only work at 100%.
Yeah, I was thinking that myself. Yeah.
Well, here's the other thing, and this is something that these morons just look at how fucking fat Black Widow looks in that. Good Lord.
You gotta look before you put these things.
She's just it's like those people pointing guns that are going to put her out of her misery. But anyway, the thing about it, and this kind of frustrates me, and this is what a lot of these hacks that currently work for Marvel and DC just don't get. Like, there's supposed to be something aspiring about these characters. It's supposed, even the characters that are very deeply flawed are still. There's something about him you're supposed to identify with as almost idealistic. Okay, take Punisher, for example. That's one of your more flawed anti-heroes, right? But he's still a guy who has just poured himself into this mission. And any young boy reading that, any young man reading that, can identify with that, can respect that, can admire that.
Well, also, he's not personally corrupt.
Yeah. They're supposed... That's one of the reasons it was such a terrible decision when they did that reversing the marriage shit with Peter Parker, that One More Day shit, because, you just reverted him back to a fucking man-child so you could recycle that same tired, I missed my date because Doc Ock attacked fucking storyline from the 70s.
Was that as bad as Linkara says it is?
It is. I'm not going to exaggerate here when I say it is the worst thing Marvel has ever done.
One More Day.
It is the worst thing Marvel has ever published.
Wow.
Now, not from a technical standpoint, there maybe have been worse stories, but when you combine it all, how bad of a story it is, because everybody's out of character in that story, the effect it had, how much it missed the point, the whole 9 yards, it is the worst thing Marvel has ever done. It's a stain on that franchise that may never be washed off. And I mean, Spider-Man used to be my favorite fictional thing. So,
isn't the whole thing technically one giant retcon?
Kinda. I don't even want to get into it. It's a whole mess. But the point is, like, they basically, the one thing that's really upsetting is he sells his marriage to save his aunt's life, right? Even though he actually, like, his aunt basically told him, like, just let me die already. I'm 104. Like, he actually like had some.
104?
No, but she's old as shit. And he actually he had some telepath like let him communicate with her while she was in the coma, And she's like, just let me go, Peter. All right, enough's enough. What are you doing? And the thing about that, not enough people touch on it. That story reeked of Oedipus complex because he basically traded his wife for his mom. That's what he did there. Now, yes, I know it's his aunt, but it's his mom. She raised him. Okay. And there's actually this creepy ass fucking scene at the end of that thing where he wakes up after, everything was changed and he hears somebody call him from the kitchen and says Tiger. And he goes in there and it's Aunt May and he says, oh, good morning. He kisses her on the neck, which is fucking gross. But for those of you that aren't Spider-Man fans, let me explain the significance of the word Tiger. That's what fucking Mary Jane called him all the time. Like, that was her pet name for him. That's what she would, I guess, have screamed out mid-fucking orgasm when she's riding his dick, okay? So for his mom, essentially, his aunt, to call him that, just really hammers home the fucking Oedipus shit going on in that storyline. And that's something that I see in superheroes all the time. There were so many superheroes when I was a kid reading that were adults. And I don't mean merely, adults physically. I mean, they were adults. They had fucking jobs. They were married. They were adults. They weren't fucking kids. All right? They weren't fucking man-children either. Spider-Man now, since One More Day, is by and large a fucking man-child. You even see this like in the Justice League movie, and I don't know exactly what they're going to be doing with Barry Allen, but it doesn't look like we have forensic scientist Barry Allen. It looks like we have some kid in a basement Barry Allen. Because, again, they just got to reduce him to children. Even the Flash TV show, which I think is very good, and has him as a forensic scientist, even there he's kind of man-childish, but I could sort of dismiss it because he is pretty young in it. But there's this constant need, like, almost everything wants to every kind of media adaptation of Spider-Man now wants to turn him into a fucking teenager. All the time. He was a teenager in the original book for like a few years until Stan Lee realized that's kind of lame and graduated him to college. But everyone's, he's got to be a teenager. He's got to be a teenager. That's
truth be told,
at Marvel, they don't know how to write fucking adults because none of them are.
Although, if I'm honest, the time we see her in Civil War is the only time we actually see him I only identify him as a teenager because all the other manifestations of him have him as a mature teenager.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's like the Sam Raimi movies. He's a teenager, and fucking Tobey Maguire's like 30. But that's just like Hollywood.
I didn't mind how they portrayed him in Iron Man 3. Captain America 3.
I liked it too, but if I'm being honest with you, I'm just like I don't really care all that much about a teenage Spider-Man yet again. The only time I've really ever got into a teenage Spider-Man was Ultimate Spider-Man, the comic, the original run Bendis did, and even that I would have preferred him more grown up, but it was still it had its charm. But by and large, look, teen superheroes aren't that fucking interesting to me. And even when I was a kid, they weren't that fucking interesting. When you're a kid, you want to be a fucking adult. I mean, I don't understand why that's so hard for some of these people to realize. But like,
you mean like how they put Anakin, kid Anakin, in the Star Wars prequels? Like, who wants him? They want to be like Han Solo or Luke. They don't want some brown.
Yeah, no. Again, though, it's just a lot of these writers, like Joe Quesada, one of the reasons he gave that he had to make Spider-Man not married anymore is that, well, Spider-Man fans can't identify with being in a relationship with a woman. It's funny, like, every time he fucking opened his mouth, he made shit worse. Like, the shit storm of anger around him. And it's like, look, Joe, maybe you can't, okay? Maybe you secretly want to fuck your mom, all right? But... like
that's really dissing your fans.
It was unreal. It just, every word out of his mouth made it worse. And I always liked the fact that he was married reading it, because first of all, there's not enough, that kind of cop wife drama dynamic is actually pretty interesting. I mean, she doesn't, he goes out to go do Spider-Man stuff. She doesn't really know if he's coming back.
I just get tired of constant reboots. Like didn't they just have to retcon and like isn't that kind of like what they did? They just retconned and rebooted the whole thing.
Well, they sort of did. Basically, everything happened except, and this is just so stupid. Like that whole time they were married, they were just living together.
Oh yeah,
yeah. That's it. That's the only difference. Like you couldn't have just had them get divorced or something.
Oh, this is the first time we ever saw Mary Jane, the TV show. It starts from the legs and moves up.
Yeah, that was the worst thing Marvel ever did. But again, the real terrible part about it was, that it just kind of reverted them back to fucking Peter Pan, man-child, hiding behind Aunt May's skirt.
Mm.
That was the real tragedy of it.
Right.
All right. Well, let's move on. There was actually one comic I saw this week that was pretty good, and you'll see the cover on my recent picks on Twitter, and it was better than it has any right to be. For some reason, DC has decided to do a bunch of like fucking weird Looney Tunes DC superhero crossovers this week or this past month, and I just on a whim picked up there was a Wonder Woman versus Tasmanian Devil one. It was surprisingly,
to be honest,
it was surprisingly like much better than it has any right to be. Like basically, they sort of reimagined the Tasmanian Devil as this mythological beast that Wonder Woman was fighting. But like, cool. It actually was really cool. Like basically, the labyrinth that the Minotaur is in, they were saying like it's almost like kind of a pocket dimension, and it has openings on like all over the world, and Taz is in charge of being the guardian of the fucking opening in Australia. And it was a tremendous amount of heart in the way the Tasmanian Devil was portrayed. I mean, while this was a more quote unquote realistic version, it still had that same kind of personality of, being this sort of chaos beast, but also having a bit of a heart. Wonder Woman relies every bit as much on diplomacy and wisdom as she does her own brute strength, which is how most good Wonder Woman stories should be. Again, I don't want to spoil anything, but if you're at all a fan of Wonder Woman or even Tasmanian Devil, this is surprisingly fucking good. I genuinely really like this. There's also like this weird Elmer Fudd Batman one coming out that's supposed to be all like kind of this weird Norse story. They're kind of weird, but some of them look like they have real.
I like this one.
Oh yeah,
they actually sound pretty cool, to be honest. It's an interesting idea.
Yeah, they're not bad. There actually was a Looney Tunes DC crossover back in 2000. It was a miniseries called Superman Bugs Bunny, and the premise was basically that McSpitlick made all the Looney Tunes real just to fuck with the DC superheroes. Like he just ripped them out of the TV. Just like, here, go fuck with people. But yeah, that Martian Manhunter, Marvin the Martian one, like basically like Marvin the Martian is the last remaining Martian of his universe, and he's like traveling the multiverse, destroying Earth in each universe.
Marvin the Martian, the band Martian Manhunter sounds awesome.
It actually was a pretty good read. I read that one too. That and the Wonder Woman one were the only ones I read. But
here's a good combination: Lobo and Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah, I didn't get that one, but yeah, I was kind of curious on it.
A bounty hunter and a man chasing one bird. Or a wolf chasing one bird. Oh, brilliant.
But yeah, there were the Wonder Woman one is especially good. If you at all like Wonder Woman, it's worth checking out. DC is picking up. DC is slowly but surely washing the shit off itself right now. So DC, there's some really good readable shit coming out of DC, and hopefully Marvel turns itself around soon too. All right, let's see. What did I cover here? Oh, Luke, real quick, I just want you to throw this up.
All right.
It's I sent it to you on Skype a few days ago. It's a picture of Boogie, bunch of numbers, whatever the fuck his name is. Now, if you may remember, Boogie had a bunch of tweets a few weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago, where he was bitching about like the Obamacare repeal because oh, somebody has to pay for my health care. This 400-pound motherfucker.
I can see why.
The motherfucker. When I saw that picture, I got a little triggered. We're gonna use that term again. Get your fat ass out of the fucking rascal. All right. If you have 2 fucking legs, you got no business in one of those damn things. Period. All right. Like this is so fucking infuriating. This guy. And look, I didn't want to hate Boogie because he was pro Gamergate. All right, and I'm going to be honest with you. Yeah, I overlooked a lot of shit because he was shooting at the same people I was. But you know what? This is a fat piece of shit. All right. Now look, I need to lose some fucking weight. Okay, and this motherfucker takes shits that weigh more than me. All right. And when he's out there whining about how we need socialized medicine because he's digging his own goddamn grave with a fork, I don't want to hear it. All right. You're driving around. Oh, look at me and my fucking rascal. Like,
I love that he had a scooter.
Yeah, I didn't either till I saw that. I was like, oh, good Lord. Have you no fucking shame?
Of course not.
You fucking fat cuck. And actually, by the way, the cuck thing is literal. He's got this wife that's surprisingly, shockingly fucking good looking for given the fucking. I don't know if she's just caught in his orbit or what the fuck happened, but like there was this one like picture of her hanging out with her best friend, which is this fucking ripped looking dude, and like he put it up on his fucking Twitter feed, and then he's like, I don't get why people are making fun of me. And at the time, I'm
his
like,
wife is actually good looking. That's
and I was
weird.
at the time, I'm like, I don't have the heart to tell him, all right? Because I mean, I'm sure she can't fucking fuck this guy. I can't imagine like the sheer mechanics of it.
If you could even still see his dick,
huh?
Or is it just buried under the rolls of fat?
I mean, it's like literally, like how could they should cosplay with her in the fucking slave Leia bikini and then just got her on a fucking chain. Good Lord. How much did you have to pay Boba Fett to capture her?
Oh, I have to make that into a meme now.
Oh, good Lord.
So is his wife actually cucked him, or?
Well, that was the rumor. I mean, she's got some close friend that's this good-looking guy, and
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you can. I mean, I'm not saying it definitely happened, but the pieces are all there.
It's just too easy.
But yeah, I had to take a little bit of a shit on Boogie there. Because fuck you, get off the fucking scooter. I mean, for fuck's sake.
It's really not like, because I've lost weight before. When you're that fat, it's not that hard to lose weight.
Oh, good God, no, I can't.
If you just even you don't even losing weight, you just have to eat normally and just not snack and try to get some exercise. And I find that normally works pretty well.
Well, I mean, the guy loses 10 pounds every time he takes a shit.
It's true, he probably does.
Sorry if I'm drinking too close to the microphone there, folks. Terrible.
Not one of the people who gets super triggered by that shit. Some people do.
Let's see, what else do I want to cover? Okay, so let's talk about Anita versus Sargon here.
Yeah, whoever
now,
wins, we lose.
that was very good. But no, what happened was, and I mentioned this before when we were talking about the shoe on head and armored fedora, hanging out with Lindsay. But so Sargon goes to some panel that Anita was hosting. At one of these, who the hell knows? I don't even know. Maybe it was a con or whatever. It was Sargon and like I think Mundane Matt was there, and she freaked the fuck out. She was like, "Hey, you got this garbage." I guess she recognized him in the crowd. Like, this garbage person over here been harassing me and all this stuff. Like, fucking Anita. I mean, you know, like I've been on this channel for years telling you to fucking kill yourself. All right, but Sargon's been all kinds of polite with you. All right, it's funny that like the people she actually looks at that are harassing her like treat her with fucking kid gloves, in my opinion. But, you know, she got triggered and screamed rape and tried to get security to remove him. And finally, thankfully, security was just like, he's not doing anything. Like, I was so pleasantly surprised that it, you know, fucking tase him or something. And then she called him a garbage human, which, like, what a little old lady insult.
How could she say that? Sargon's a real human being and a real hero.
Garbage human. That just sounds like your politically correct term for garbage man. Like you're describing a job. I don't. I mean, there's not a lot to say except like it was funny to see Anita get triggered, because I mean you could tell that this stuff really got to her. It really genuinely fucking upset her. I guess she never see. Here's the thing. So I honestly believe that Sargon and Mundane Matt and the guys that treated her with absolute kid gloves. In many ways, now, I think they got to her the most because that was not the hatred she wanted. You know what I mean? Like she went out there and she took a piss on a hobby people enjoy, and she wanted people to be like, "I'm gonna rape you, skull fuck you, bitch," and all that stuff. And I mean, she got that, of course. Because everybody on the internet gets that. I'm sure I have some of that in the fucking chat right now. All right. That's the internet. All right. But she actually got a lot of people who took the time to dissect all the bullshit in her videos. And they are layers upon layers of bullshit. I mean, all of her videos are just a fucking onion of bullshit. You just peel back one layer after another. That wasn't what she expected. That's why she tried her hardest to portray them as, you know, people threatening rape on her or whatever. She did not expect that kind of shit. And she's just triggered by it. It did get to her. And I mean, hats off to Sargon and his merry band of fedoras, because they did fucking get under her skin something fierce.
On Sargon, I briefly actually almost liked him when he was kind of like actually debating, like having discussions with Millennial Woes. And then he just went fucking crazy and started doing the didn't he post a bunch of gay interracial porn?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, he sent people a whole bunch of like gay interracial porn, and he was like haha, I sure showed you.
Like, no, it was weird because they were actually like having decent discussions, and then out of nowhere he just like snapped or something.
Well, it's also weird because like Thunderfoot ended up doing the exact same thing to him. Like Thunderfoot just snapped on Sargon and turned on him for no reason a few weeks ago, and is still doing that. Like Thunderfoot was actually arguing that Sargon should not have gone to her panel, and that was stalking. Which, God, what the fuck happened to you, Thunderfoot?
Well, panels are public, though.
Okay, that was something that used to always drive me. I got a couple years ago, I got accused of on one of the, I think it was on the Channel Awesome forum. And by the way, that pic's fucking perfect. But no, on the Channel Awesome,
that's okay.
That you need to tweet that shit out. Like just Boogie a bunch of numbers, be like. I can't even remember what his handle is. I just call him Boogie bunch of numbers. But
2988.
1488.
Boogie 1488. But yeah.
Oh wow! This is the third picture that comes up on Google right here.
Oh my God.
No wonder he needs healthcare.
Oh God.
What does Bowie even do? Like, I've never watched one of his videos.
I don't know. I don't know. I've never really watched him either.
What does he do? Like gaming content or something?
Probably.
Okay.
I'm sure he's never covered like We Fit, but other than that, no. But like a few years ago, I remember one of Lindsay's fans in the Channel Awesome forum accused me of stalking her because I was just commenting on some shit she had posted on Twitter, and I'm like, I'm commenting on what a public figure has willingly made public. How is that at all stalking? And it's like, it's because of your intent. The fuck are you talking about? All right, but yeah, I wanted to shit on Boogie a little bit and then the Anita thing. All right, so we're actually going to cover a bit of real news here. Shockingly enough. So this week there was the election, the Georgia 6th district. Okay, so this was actually kind of funny because I remember listening to Rush talk about this maybe a month or two ago. What had happened, it was a month or two ago. So this district was up because it was one of the people Trump appointed to, I don't know, some position or whatever. And so they left the Senate and then, or was this Senate or House or whatever? I can't remember what the fuck. I think this was a House member. But anyways, they left their seat, so that seat was open, so they had a special election. Now, initially, there was like 11 Republicans running and one Democrat, and this Democrat was from out of state, had all this out of state money, and was spending like something like 10 times more than all the others put together or some shit like that, right? Well, he got like 40%, and the other ones got the remaining amount split up. And then that wasn't enough, so they had to have another election with just him and I think the next runner-up, as it were. Well, you know, everybody was saying, well, and they were, I mean, they spent ridiculous sums of money only to keep them in the game, essentially. Well, then here comes round two on Tuesday, I guess it was. And I mean, all the shit libs are running around saying, and look, by the way, there is a picture. If you scroll through my Twitter pictures, you'll see this picture of CNN reporters. We're going to want to bring this up soon.
Oh, yes.
All the shit libs are saying, like, this is a referendum on Trump and how bad Trump's doing. It's gonna be a blowout. And this fucking faggot that they were running, this pajama boy looking motherfucker that they were running, he got blown the fuck out. It was like a good 5 fucking points or something like that. And, I mean, he was just running against a fucking, you know, who gives a shit, you know, middle-of-the-road conservative, nobody cared, and still got blown the fuck out. And this was CNN that night. They were not taking it well. There was a lot of sad faces over at the Citation Needed Network.
That's a good way to describe it.
That's my favorites.
And, yeah, they were not very happy. In fact, I'm pretty sure that guy sitting next to the Chicken Orange, his butt plug might actually have fallen out right there.
Oh, I actually heard some numbers on this. Apparently, the guy, he originally in the whole election, he got like 48% of the vote in the original, 48% in the original vote, and then when this vote came out, he only got 48.1% of the votes.
Wow.
So not much improvement.
And here's the thing: they want to make it sound like, oh, see, it's because it should have. Now they changed their tune to, well, the Republicans should have won by so much more. This is a moral victory for us. No, it wasn't. They look at that picture of them people from CNN. Does that look like they're feeling any kind of moral victory right there?
No.
They sure aren't. They thought they had this shit in the bag. All right, because the polls were showing this guy was up by like 5-10 points, some more shit like that. All right, and I find myself wondering. I'm like, are these people lying to us, or are they just at this point just lying to themselves? Like, do they actually think that they can just lie about it and make the lie fucking? Are they trying their own fucking meme magic or some shit? Like they're just gonna will this person into office by just saying he's winning, or are they actually just lying to themselves and convince themselves that this is how this is? The Democrat Party is in fucking trouble. And honestly, it's only the infighting and the ineptitude of the right wing, the conservative movement / Republican Party / whatever, that keeps the Democrats from being full on extinct. All right. Now, look, there are real demographic problems that, if they're not addressed, are gonna work in the Democrats' favor in the long run. But for now, for the foreseeable future, for the next probably several election cycles, they're in fucking trouble. They cannot pull that. They will not be able to, unless Trump skull fucks a fucking puppy live on television. They're not gonna be able to win. You know who they're thinking of running now? Who's kicking around the idea of running? Fucking Stephen Colbert thinks he's gonna run for president in 2020 now.
Seriously?
Sure, why not?
No, like honestly, they're actually thinking of running him.
He's kicking around the idea, and a bunch of these fucking left-wing e-rags are like, yeah, because Trump only won because he's a celebrity. No. Here's the thing. The celebrity fame, name recognition, that only gets you so far. The rest of it is having fucking balls, okay? Every time you try to bring up some silly thing Trump did in the past, like, look, he was in a Pizza Hut commercial or something, he just shrugged that off because he was alpha as fuck. All right?
No,
Stephen Colbert is not.
Well, didn't he like massively apologize for the dick sucking joke or whatever it was?
Yeah, the holster thing.
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing was that was that one time when he made a joke about Russia and all the like a joke on Russia, and then all the audience booed or like the audience gave the wrong response he was expecting. Like, oh, there must be a lot of Trump fans in the audience.
Oh no, was that no? That was the Comey one, right?
Oh yeah, that's it.
Where they're like Comey was gotten rid of, and then everyone's like, "Yeah, I dealt with Comey." They're like, "No, we're supposed to feel bad about it." They're like, "Oh, okay."
But yeah, he had to apologize for I think he had to apologize for. Oh no, did he apologize for the holster joke?
I think he did. Yeah.
I'd like to see like in polls like what % of people actually believe the Russia stuff.
I mean, look, here's the real thing, because I mean, so many of these elections, they come down to just, the 5 to 10% of people that are, swing voters or whatever. I mean, there's a lot of Democrats that obviously I would gauge it's maybe as high as 20-25%, because there's just so many Democrats that are going to be like, yeah, it's true, because, that fucking handsome fellow Rachel Maddow told me.
Excluding Democrats, like, okay, like what?
Outside of just hardcore Democrats, I can't. Nobody fucking buys it. Nobody's moved by this shit.
Yeah, Rachel Maddow was really pushing it a couple days ago. I mean, a guy, a guy named Hard Bastard actually had this video pointing out Rachel Maddow is using all her every single vocal inflection that she can get to convince people that the Russia thing is still a thing.
Well, here's the other thing, and this isn't even necessarily a good thing, but it's true. Most people don't want to believe conspiracy theories because there's just such a social stigma to it. You can stop most people from even looking into something by just saying, "Oh, tinfoil hat, that's crazy," and they don't want. Oh, I don't want to go down that road then. So I mean, trying to chase down fucking conspiracy theories, it's just. I mean, look, that's why the Clintons got away with killing a bunch of people. Okay. Because nobody wants to, oh, you're crazy. It's conspiracy theory. Even when there's like real fucking solid evidence, nobody wants to see it. So for the Democrats to think they're going to gain any fucking traction on swing voters with some nonsense about fucking, Trump is Putin in a fucking mask or whatever bullshit narrative they're trying to spin this week, they're out of their fucking minds. It's not going to work. Let's see. What else do I want to talk about? Oh, speaking of comedians that had to apologize.
Oh, yes.
Well, not comedians, actors this time, I guess. So Johnny Depp, I don't even know what he said because I don't pay attention to what actors say.
At first he made a comment about Donald Trump is good. If Donald Trump's president now and everyone's booing, oh no, you misunderstand. I'm just saying, how long has it been since an actor has actually assassinated the president?
Oh shit, that's even more of a threat than Kathy Griffin shit.
Whoa, careful not to cut yourself on that edge.
That's seriously, dude. I mean, the Secret Service don't fuck around, all right? You'd be lucky there if they don't really give you a lot of hassle over that shit. I mean, you have free speech. You can wish the president would die. Okay, I can wish all the bad things in the world upon my president. Okay, but I'm not allowed to even fucking hint that I intend to actually do him. You threatened to slap the president in the face. You'll be lucky if you don't face jail time.
And the weird thing is, he was trying to associate that with John Wilkes Booth.
Yeah,
the man who killed Abraham Lincoln. Yeah, that's a great idea, Depp.
Well, here's the thing. And look, we take actors way too fucking seriously, just as a society. All right. Dave Chappelle had a great bit on this where he was talking about like not caring about what celebrities said, and Dave Chappelle's bit was like, "You want to know something? You shouldn't give a fuck what I say about the war or anything else because I'm just an entertainer. Guess what? I've done commercials for Coke and Pepsi. And you want to know God's honest truth? Can't even taste the difference." And I mean, that's the thing. Like, you know what an actor's job is? Like, actors are just basically, they're like this weird mix between a marionette and a prostitute, essentially. All right. Like, you know what an actor's job is? An actor's job is to fake emotions. That's their fucking skill, okay? Fake emotions while you read lines someone else wrote that you likely don't even understand.
Oh, I loved Adam Carolla's take on it. Who are these people? They're a bunch of guys who smoked a lot of weed in high school and look good in their underpants.
Yeah. I mean, like, people are like, oh, just like, I think it was Mark Ruffalo said, the guy who plays Hulk in the Avengers movies, he said some dumb shit about like white people are bad or something recently, and Mark Dice was ripping into it, and I'm just like, I can't even get worked up about it. Yeah, Bruce Banner might be a fucking genius, but Mark Ruffalo's IQ is probably around 90. All right, like he reads lines someone else wrote that he likely doesn't understand, and he fakes emotions. That's what he does for a fucking living. He's hollow. Most of them are fucking hollow. All right? So no, for the love of God, don't take an actor. And even when they come out with a bunch of right-wing views that you like, okay, that's all fine and grand, and say, yay, I'm glad you think that way. But don't ever take them fucking seriously. All right? Never take a fucking actor seriously. If you are ever in a position in your life where you're like, if only I could get such and such actor's point of view on something to make some sense of it all, you really need to fucking rethink your shit.
You're fucked.
Like, look, I understand even getting a little emotionally attached to them because but they're not the characters they play, okay? Mark Ruffalo is not Bruce Banner, all right? He's not.
Oh, yeah. I remember back when the whole Sons of Abe, this whole coalition of conservative actors decided to disband their group because Trump won the election.
I didn't hear about that.
The Sons of Abe, those guys, yeah.
But like, look, I love Arrow. I have an Arrow boner from here to fucking Alpha Centauri. All right, I love that show. And if I ever saw Stephen Amell at like a con or something, I would have to stop myself from screaming like a 13-year-old girl. All right. Like, oh my God, it's Oliver Queen, right? And I'd probably want him to sign something or whatever. But you know what? I don't follow him on Twitter because he's probably just some dipshit, empty-headed actor. He's not fucking Arrow. He's not Oliver Queen.
Chris Evans is a massive dildo on Twitter.
Yeah, Chris Evans is a massive faggot, okay? But you know what? Captain America is really fucking cool. But guess what? Chris Evans isn't Captain America. He's some empty-headed moron who is good at faking emotions and reading lines someone else wrote.
That is perfect shots to illustrate.
It makes you an even bigger pussy though if you like play someone alpha, so people know you can act that way.
Yeah, it is kind of it is kind of interesting that a lot of these guys, the characters they play, would be ashamed of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, but that's the thing. They're not the characters they play. Yes, Captain America is very cool. Captain America is a stand-up guy. He's not a faggot. Chris Evans is a faggot. Now, the one Chris Pratt does seem like a pretty stand-up guy. I'll give him that. He does seem like the exception to the rule. But by and large, I don't expect, like, so many people get upset about it and like, well, I'm not going to watch this or that movie anymore because it's like punctured this fucking illusion they had about this actor. They're not the fucking character. I so don't get caught up in that shit anymore. That said, though, Johnny Depp's going to face a fucking big problem for this shit. He shot his career in the dick. And I mean, the last fucking thing he had was these pirate movies, basically. That was the last thing he could make that people actually wanted to see.
When was the last time Johnny Depp made a movie that wasn't shit?
You know, I'm going to say that I like all the Pirates movies. Really? I know some of them are weaker than others, but at the end of the day, as long as you got, Jeffrey Rush and Johnny Depp playing those two characters, I could just watch them like banter back and forth for 90 minutes. That would be entertaining.
I thought On Stranger Tides was like one of the worst mainstream movies I've ever seen.
Look, I'm not gonna lie, some of them are pretty weak, but again, those two actors playing those two characters pulls it out for me. I would watch a fucking sitcom of those two just sitting on a couch on the pirate ship arguing for 30 minutes. All right, like that would be entertaining for me. I love the back and forth between those guys. That said, though, as far as another Johnny Depp movie, I couldn't fucking tell you. I mean, those Alice in Wonderland movies were shit. That Willy Wonka movie was shit.
Made me like physically ill.
Now, part of that was the fact that when you let Tim Burton off the leash, it's a fucking acid trip.
Okay, I'm gonna try and look up the last good movie he was in.
Let's see. Did anyone ever see Mordecai?
Mordecai. I don't think I saw that.
Apparently, he's some sort of fop like secret agent character.
Oh, I think I remember seeing something about that, but I don't know. I never saw that movie, so I can't comment.
He had a cameo in Fantastic Neats and Where to Hire Them.
What?
No, it's I call Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Fantastic Neats and Where to Hire Them.
Okay, well, the last movie I remember him seeing that I thought was really good, that wasn't one of the Pirates movies, that I can even fucking remember was Blow. And I mean, that was probably like 2002 or some shit like that. Where he played the drug dealer.
Let's see, The Imaginarium of Dr. Pretentious.
That sounds fucking terrible.
No, I have my own names.
I know. I know the movie you're talking about, but I just like that sounded fucking terrible.
Well, its biggest shot was I had who played the Joker?
Sleepy Hollow was pretty good.
I liked Sleepy Hollow. Sleepy Hollow was good.
From Hell was okay.
It was. I had a hard time getting through it.
Oh, the Lone Ranger.
Oh, that was.
They were trying to copy Pirates of the Caribbean to an old cowboy western and failed. Let's see, Sweeney Todd.
Yeah, I haven't actually seen that one.
Oh yeah, this.
Oh, you know what? I kind of like Dark Shadows.
Really?
Yeah, I kind of like that. Now, I will say that I have absolutely no emotional attachment to the source material. So people are like, oh, it's not like the show. Like, that means nothing to me. But I thought it was an entertaining enough little popcorn flick. You know, it's Johnny Depp being just the right amount of weird in a role that actually called for it. Yeah, I like Dark Shadows. Thought it was all right.
Oh, do you remember Transcendence?
Oh, you know, that actually, I thought that actually looked pretty good, but I never got around to seeing it.
Yeah,
Transcendence was shit.
There was another movie. There was another movie similar to it with Scarlett Johansson in it. So I can't remember the title, but they were basically addressing the same topic. Yeah, they're basically the same movie, except one's really slow.
Lucy was a lot worse.
Oh, Lucy, that was it. That was it. Lucy, that was it.
Oh well, Lucy was the one.
Lucy was fucking abysmal. Well, Transcendence was better.
Scarlett Johansson's overrated as fuck.
I actually don't find her that attractive, to be honest.
You know what? Yeah, speaking as someone who does like the hell out of the Marvel movies, I mean, she's by far the weakest link. But I'm often struck if you go back and watch Iron Man 2, how much she was in leagues better shape in that movie than in Avengers. Now, she wasn't like out of shape really in Avengers, but I mean, you could bounce a fucking quarter off that girl's stomach in fucking Iron Man 2. And you compare that to Avengers, there was just no comparison. I also actually thought Iron Man 2, for all its faults, was the only really good portrayal of Black Widow in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, in that she was actually shown as a competent spy rather than just some girl with a fucking 45 that's with the Avengers for some reason. Yeah, she was fuck. I don't know who the fuck her trainer was for Avengers versus Iron Man 2, but they should have gotten the Iron Man 2 one on board.
Okay, you know who's like my favorite actor? I love, what's his name? Who's the guy who plays Hawkeye again?
Oh, yeah, he's great. And he actually seems kind of base, too.
No, I love Jeremy Renner because he just never gives it. Like in every movie, he just looks so fucking bored, like he doesn't want to be there, and he's just waiting till he could go home.
But it always fits the characters he's playing, though. That's the best part of it. Like, every time he's just playing some smart-ass fucking badass character.
No, he just never gives a shit. He's just like, where's my fucking paycheck?
I like in the fucking, like, his brief cameo in Thor as Hawkeye, like, where, you know, he's like, Thor's beating up these agents and he's like, has to snipe them, and he's like, you better give me the hurry to shoot him soon because I'm starting to root for the guy.
Yeah, he just never gives a shit.
Yeah,
this is an expression every movie.
But you know what? If you're at all familiar with the Avengers comics, that's fucking Hawkeye. He's just a guy who fucking like makes jokes and doesn't give a fuck the whole time. Like, my favorite Hawkeye line is there's this thing in Marvel Comics, this team called the Squadron Supreme, and it was basically like a team of superheroes from a parallel universe that were all Justice League knockoffs. It was kind of Marvel's way of having the Avengers fight the Justice League without actually having them do it. And then when they finally, back in the mid-2000s, did an Avengers Justice League crossover, when they first like see each other and all, Hawkeye's like, these are just a bunch of Squadron Supreme wannabes. Yeah, I like that guy. He's cool as shit. But yeah, Johnny Depp's career is gonna be fucking over this. It's
okay.
You know.
Well, okay. Here's I gotta pull the audience. Who has made more shitty movies, Johnny Depp or Will Smith?
That's a tough one.
Oh,
Who sucks harder?
I think Johnny Depp's more shit.
Well, has Will Smith made good movies? I can't think. Other than Men in Black.
Men in Black. I like Independence Day. Some people might fight me on that, but I like it.
That's cool.
I don't know, man. It's hard pressed to find anyone. Yeah, I mean he's likable as fuck, but he's just in terrible ass movies. I mean, After Earth it's fucking terrible.
Oh yeah.
Although, you know, speaking of which, this is almost the tragedy of Spoonie. Like, he is capable of tremendous movie reviews. He did a movie review of After Earth where it was I never thought of it, but he basically says, like, that movie is about the thing that it is. In other words, that movie is about a father pushing his son into something he's not ready for. And that movie is a father pushing his son into something he's not ready for.
Okay. I just wanted to address. Someone mentions Hancock. My friend
like
Abstract
Hancock.
and
I'm gonna be
actually
honest.
have a term for
I like Hancock. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know why people shit on that
a
movie.
thing in movies.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Called
I think we're
Hancock
losing you
syndrome, where they basically take two unrelated movies and like the movie feels like they took two unrelated plots and put them together. I liked it. The whole like PR for boost like his reputation and stuff, and then they went into that weird thing where he lied with the mud shark thing, and it was just like, why? I think it would have been better as just like a comedy. Like about a superhero.
I think it would have been better without the Charlize Theron being like one of his people either. Like, you know, the ancient gods or whatever the fuck he was. That said, though, I thought it was a pretty solid movie, and it was definitely you know what? I'm gonna be honest, another one I liked with him is I Am Legend. I'll be honest.
I've never seen I Am Legend.
Will Smith's I Am Legend is one of the I can count on one hand the amount of times I actually shed a tear in a movie theater.
They should have kept the original ending though.
When he had to kill his dog.
Oh,
I fucking cried a little bit. That and like his you know, all these things have this sort of vampire sort of zombie infection, all these people that are in the city. And like it infected his dog, you know, and he gets it home in a hurry and he tries to put the cure in it, you know, the vaccine or whatever that'll stop him from getting infected, but he just, you know, he's not sure if he got to him one time, so he's holding the dog, you know, and then there's you can see the dog start to turn and start to, you know, go all feral and shit like that. And he's not even looking at it. He's just kind of like quiet. He's just crying. And he just sort of like snaps the dog's neck. And that fucking got to me. I gotta admit that. Like,
I think like the funniest Will Smith movie I think is Pursuit of Happiness, because he's literally like this high time preference guy who refuses to get a job. And he like pursues like the unrealistic becoming like a billionaire stockbroker instead of just like working for a living.
Just a salesman.
Yeah, he's just like super high time preference, and his wife leaves him because he's a deadbeat. And
oh, the one movie that's always Will Smith movie that's always on movie channels is I Am Robot.
you know, I kind of like that one too.
Yeah, that's really good. Very faithful adaptation. Well, it's kind of changes the ending, but it's kind of the whole point to it.
It wasn't bad.
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was good.
Aside from that one Will Smith scene. Yeah, you like that? When he's shooting out his car window.
Yeah, there's always that scene in his fucking movies for some reason. But yeah, I kind of like that iRobot too. I mean, it's not like the greatest thing in the world, but I thought it was good.
I like the original Independence Day, to be honest.
Oh yeah, that was really fun.
I like the original. I don't get why people shit on it so much.
I don't know. It's almost like this revisionist history because it was sort of the first of a major string of big budget blow 'em up like set piece action films in a row there. And it's like I almost feel like people, it's not that they dislike Independence Day, it's almost like they dislike the influence Independence Day had.
It led to a lot of shit.
You know, which I mean I can understand that. There's a lot of things, you know, where it's like I don't like the influence it had, but I like the thing itself. Like as a comic book fan, I like Watchmen, but holy shit, did Watchmen inspire?
Oh my god! Do you guys remember Wild Wild West?
Oh yeah!
Oh man, that was rough.
And how shitty that was.
Oh, that was rough.
The only thing I liked about it, I thought the spider was pretty cool.
Like did you ever hear Kevin Smith's story of how that came about?
Wow.
Alcohol?
No, Kevin Smith has because Kevin Smith's one of those guys who's sort of on the outskirts of Hollywood all the time. Well, he tells this story of sitting down with this fucking dipshit fucking producer when Kevin Smith was supposed to write a Superman movie, and like he had all these idiotic fucking demands, like he didn't want Superman to wear a costume or fly. And
what?
Yeah, and then one of them was like Superman has to fight a giant spider. Like, and then he kept like, and then he talked to some other producer, and the producer was like, "Did you talk to him?" Yeah, he's like, did he tell you about the spider? And it's like apparently that guy wanted to fucking shove giant spiders in every fucking movie he ever produced. And then so he tells a story. He's like, so then a few years later, I'm sitting in a movie theater watching Wild Wild West, thinking, man, this is a piece of shit. And produced by this guy, and lo and behold, here comes a giant fucking spider.
I don't know. There was a certain appeal of it to me. So from like a very childish, and it's kind of like what people like about Spawn. It's like a childish version of action or gore or mayhem. I don't know. There's something really attractive about it.
Like, let me put it this way: I don't hate Wild Wild West. I think it's shit, but it's almost kind of an entertaining sort of shit. Like, I could sit through that movie again. Like, I watched it in the movie theater, and I was kind of like, this movie sucks, but I was sort of having a good time with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the chemistry between the characters is always fun to watch.
My dad, on the other hand, who I saw it with at the time and was a huge fan of the show, he was not having a good time.
No.
He was fucking pissed off about it. See, I had no love for the source material, but he's sitting there like, fuck this movie, fuck everyone in it. Like, he was about ready to walk out and come over to that movie.
Oh, I imagine so. Oh. It's like how I felt when I saw the original like they saw the first Transformers movie. Oh, no respect.
Davis Arini was talking about iRobot in the chat. He was like, "Did you even read the original book?" And I'm like, "No, Davis, I did not." That's what. See, there, I can I can like it because I had no affinity for the source material. Like, I get when you're like, okay, it disrespects the source. Like, look, I will not even see the World War Z movie because I know it's nowhere like it's nothing like the book, and the book's a fucking masterpiece. But if somebody was just like, well, I didn't read the book, but I kind of like the movie, I could respect that. You know, like, okay, you don't know any better.
Now, I have read iRobot, and that portrayal was probably the only way they were going to make that story into a movie, having it that way they did. Because the whole book goes and delves into like the whole psychology of the 3 laws of robotics and how they can be misapplied.
Yeah, I liked iRobot too. I didn't even see it in the theater. I just rented it, but I remember liking it. You know, I kind of got a theory about Johnny Depp and being in all these Tim Burton movies with Tim Burton's wife, Helena Bonham Carter. I honestly think there's some sort of cucking thing going on there. Like, I swear to God, like Johnny Depp fucks Helena Bonham Carter while Tim Burton sits in the corner jerking off, not sure which one he'd rather be. Like, that's what's going on there. I really think that's the thing with fucking Johnny Depp. Well, let's see. Kind of blew through all the fucking topics I had there.
Yeah, not that much happened this week.
Yeah, I mean, it was the election, and then, you know, Johnny Depp shot his career in the dick. But other than that, I mean, you know, not a lot going on this week. Mm-hmm. It sucks that Matover canceled his video. I really wish he was gonna. I really wanted him to do that, but hell, I was even thinking of doing another like Sunday stream where we analyze that video and celebrities and shit in general, like we did with the Spoonie one.
So is he going to bring that material in like a closing bit?
Yeah, supposedly he's doing. I don't have the schedule in front of me, but he had like, it was like Linkara and then Angry Joe, and then I think after that it was just a general drama video regarding just Channel Awesome in general, like I guess the best of their drama, and then kind of a wrap up one. Oh, and the other video he's planning on doing, he just discovered this hashtag last night or something. He's planning on doing a fucking video on FinDoms.
I saw that.
Yeah, he's planning on doing a video on financial domination, which that should be a whole fucking treasure trove of madness. That'll be something special right there. And supposedly, like, every one of these like fucking dominatrixes and shit, if he like responded to him or retweeted him or something, they would immediately block him. So it's kind of like the Channel Awesome thing where they just, like, the Channel Awesome people fucking started to panic when his Doug Walker video dropped.
Oh, David just sent me something. What was his name? Are you guys from Wild Bill on YouTube?
Wild Bill.
Yeah, he's like he's a very heavy accent, conservative who talks about stuff.
I don't think I'm familiar.
Wild Bill for America. Apparently, he's been arrested in Canada for smuggling hate speech on his iPad.
Oh, good God. What the fuck is wrong with you? Know, that actually leads me into another topic I want to talk about. Speaking of hate speech bullshit. The Sussex, I believe, maybe I'm pronouncing that town wrong, but the Sussex Police Department in the UK, everyone working for that police department should put a gun in their mouth. Or I guess they don't have guns over in that faggot country. I don't know. Take a knife to your wrist. Like, you're all a bunch of cucked fucking faggot pigs. All right, all day on Twitter, I see this shit where it's like, these fucking Durkas are blowing your country up left and right, and you're like, we're gonna go after the people who said mean things about them on Twitter. Well, you know what? It's almost 4th of July, so thank fucking God for this nation's independence. Thank God I don't have to live under that shit.
Yeah, poor Jordan Peterson who has to put up with that now.
No, fuck you. Fuck every one of you fucking, and don't give me that you're following order. It's bullshit, okay? Every one of you fucking pigs that's going along with that shit, you deserve the deepest, darkest corner of the foulest hell. Okay? You are worse than the Muslims killing people. Okay? You are far worse. The traitor is far worse than the enemy. Always.
To steal a phrase, you are worse than Hitler.
Yes. Honestly. Like, if the soccer hooligans in that country ever managed to fucking, rise up and take back the reins, you, when the time comes to be lined up against the wall, you fucking cucks don't even get a cigarette in a blindfold. And this is not me joking. This ain't happy fucking fun hour. This is deadly fucking serious. You are trash of the worst fucking kind. Like, fuck you. On the off chance any of you should fucking hear this, fuck you. It is my sincerest hope that the next fucking inevitable terrorist attack in London, in the UK, kills a bunch of you pigs. Fuck you.
Oosh.
Fuck you to hell and back. I could not believe that shit I was saying. Man's going to serve 20 months in jail because he said goat fucker on Facebook or something like that. Fuck you. What? All these hate speech laws. Thank God in heaven we don't have that shit in the States.
The leftists would like to have that, though, and Nina Sarkeesians would like that, though. Ironically, in the name of protecting safe zones.
I'll tell you what. You know why we don't fucking have that shit here? Because you know what? The fucking Second Amendment protects the First.
Amen.
Okay? We have managed to remain, despite a heavy leftist fucking... Despite the fact that we've lost a lot of our freedoms, we have managed to remain pretty damn free because, as that one Japanese general said about the United States during World War II, there is a rifle behind every blade of grass. And that is God in heaven that has kept us free. And you faggot left libertarians that have never held a gun in your head, you thank God for all those stupid rednecks that are obsessed with fucking shotguns and shit like that. That's the only thing keeping you halfway free anymore. That the government in this country knows that there's only so fucking far they can push shit before, bullets start to fly. Which is the reason we have the Second Amendment. It's not for fucking hunting. It's not even to protect you from a mugger.
And how we talk about the whole purpose of the First Amendment. I mean, the whole point of freedom of speech is to make a particular tyrants uncomfortable with our speech.
But no, this shit going on in UK, I mean, it's just infuriating. I can't like, I did that video a month ago during the last one? Maybe it was only like 2-3 weeks ago during the last of the fucking, very, very regular attacks where I'm like, I can't even get worked up over it anymore. Y'all like, and you know what? I said this after the French election. Here in America, thank God in heaven, we still have legitimate means to go through. But in fucking England and Germany and France, I don't know what the hell you could do.
And possibly soon Canada.
Other than flee or just rise up and try and put your leaders up on a meat hook. I don't think you have legitimate through the fucking system avenues anymore. I don't think you do. Maybe I'm wrong. I would pray to God I'm wrong, but I mean, there's a little bit of it rising up in England, but by and large, I just like, why aren't you people in England like burning down the mosques or something at this point? Why aren't you like, throwing a Molotov cocktail into the Sussex Police Department and just blame Ahmed? Like, why aren't you doing that shit? Y'all motherfuckers, you'll burn down a fucking bar because the wrong soccer team won or lost or whatever. And yes, it's called soccer, you European fags. You'll do that shit. But when it comes to your actual fucking country, you won't. You just let the cucks and the Durkas just run right over you?
What's that old historical analogy about Rome just celebrating while the barbarians invade the gate? Or crossing the Rubicon?
Oh, wasn't it Nero fiddling while Rome burns?
Yeah, the Sussex police fucking arrested the guy who said who made mean tweets while Muslims raped little girls. Like, how can you? I've wondered that a little bit about American police because look, Black Lives Matter is full of shit. We don't have racist cops in this country, but we do have some problems with some out of control and corrupt police departments. And I just wonder, like if you're a cop and you're just sitting alongside the road at the end of the month making your fucking traffic quota and shit like that, like how do you go home and fucking face the mirror anymore? Like, you just fucking mugging people. It's like, yeah, he gave somebody a $120 fine for making a right turn on red. Aren't I a fucking hero? Like, how do you look in a goddamn mirror? I don't get that. And then I can barely understand that of those guys, and that's just mild levels of corruption. When you get to, like, how can any of these fuckers at these UK police departments, how the fuck you look yourself in the mirror? Fucking savages are raping your daughters, and you're throwing people in jail who are upset about it. How the fuck do you face yourself? I don't know. But yeah, England's just about fucking lost, I guess. That Sussex Police Department, what the fuck? That's a level of shameful that just, shocked me. Yeah. And I mean, I've been through several horrifying current years in a row here of liberal nonsense. I'm not easily shocked by it anymore, but every once in a while I'm like, no, that's got to be a fucking parody. That's not a real thing somebody said and was sincere, right?
Yeah, I'm always reminded of this little cartoon. I just sent you an image of a little cartoon that perfectly illustrates all that nonsense that's happening in the UK.
Oh yeah, the fucking fagmobile. Oh, dude, New York. Oh, yeah, that's the other thing. I guess it's Pride Month, because why just have one fucking deadly sin in a month when you can have two, pride and lust? But so they got the New York police car. And I don't know if you can bring up a picture of this, but they're fucking. Which, by the way, I'm gonna laugh my ass off when the Muslims inevitably burn these cop cars to the ground. I might die laughing. Press fucking F to pay respects after that. But like, I had a tweet, and I was only halfway fucking joking, where I'm like, we could probably explore the galaxy if we spent half as much energy on that as we do with finding new and exciting ways of celebrating butt sex.
Probably.
At least like leftism of 50 years ago was, their version of progress was we were going to have fucking, colonies on Mars. Now it's like the only thing they're interested in exploring is the depths of perversion. They've gone from fucking Star Trek: The Next Generation to Cenobites.
I'll be happy with Futurama at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't want to explore the galaxy anymore. They just want to open the box.
Anyways, I think I'm going to head out.
All right.
Thanks as always for having me.
Oh, certainly, man. You're always welcome on here.
Sure. Have a good weekend, everybody.
In fact, I'm probably going to go ahead and wrap this up because I'm just sitting here getting all fucking pissed off, wanting cucks to fucking hang. But yeah, like, honestly, I mean, you could question how realistic any of that fucking grandiose, sci-fi utopia liberals used to dream of was. And I certainly don't buy that it was realistic, but at least that's what they were dreaming of. 20 years ago, leftists wanted to make everything fucking Star Trek: The Next Generation. Now, they you know, they just want to explore the depths of fucking perversion, you know, to seek out, you know, new pause loads.
I remember. I wish this was
To boldly come in ways no one has come before.
Cities in the Sky. That would have been something.
Yeah. Instead, it's fucking pause loads in your neg hole.
And the offset of it doesn't affect you.
It doesn't affect you. I don't know. Can you imagine like basing your identity on how you fucking get off in the first fucking place? I'm so proud of the fact that I like to suck dick. Like, even if you didn't think that was morally wrong, why would you be fucking proud of it? Like, why would this be this thing that you're like, yeah, this is what I want to define me? You know, I don't run around like, yeah, I'm defined by the fact that I like to spank redheads with daddy issues. Yeah, that's what defines me. Where's my fucking parade? All right. You know what? I think that's enough because I'm getting all pissy here. I've just been in a bit of a pissy mood this week. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I didn't get to any callers this week. I apologize. I'll make a real effort on getting to callers next week. And I will likely do at least one show this week, and I'll try and take at least one caller during that.
Oh, do you want to try bring Davis on? He's trying to contact me.
Okay, well, I was going to wrap it up, but I'll let Davis hop on here for a minute. If he wants to. Let's see. Come on. Yeah, he can hop in here for a minute, but I'm probably going to wrap it up soon. Oh, did I talk about the Excitebike game I got?
No.
Okay, so I got
Excitebike. No, what was that?
So I got a repro card of Excitebike BS, and basically what it is it was a game for the Super Nintendo or the Super Famicom, where it's basically Excitebike but with Mario characters. So think like halfway between Excitebike and Mario Kart.
Oh yeah, you did mention this. Is this fun?
Yeah, it's pretty fun, and it was only available on their subscription service, like through satellite, where you downloaded it right onto the Famicom and played it that way. So, I mean, I'm really glad, if nothing else, that someone was able to preserve that game and it just wasn't lost to time. But yeah, I got that today. It's pretty fun. Is Davis hopping in here or not?
I sent him the contact as well. So
he says he's on his way. All right. Yeah, sorry if I was a downer on the fucking Sussex police, but you know they should all kill themselves. I do stand by that.
So in the bike game, does it have that same same old tumbler effect like in the old game?
Oh yeah, it's very much Excitebike physics. It's a lot of fun. Davis, what's on your mind? Paging Davis.
Davis, you there?
Davis is here in spirit.
I am here now. This is my backup computer. All right. Well, just let me get chest first of all. And you know what? I'm going to admit I did kind of enjoy. What was it? iRobot. It wasn't a bad movie. The problem was that it was a script that some other jerk wrote that had nothing to do with Isaac Asimov. And they're like, oh, how can we get people to see it? And they slapped this label from a really brilliant collection of short stories. They slap it onto the movie, rename a few characters because it has damn robots in it, and piss all over Asimov's grave. Anyway, okay, I'm done with my autism now. Man, I was raging hard too. I like seriously, a fidget spinner like appeared in my hand. Yeah, I was going to bring up when you were talking about the One Last Day or what, like where they, you know, Aunt May and all that garbage in Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. Have you noticed that the modern interpretation of superheroes, they are all between the ages of 17 and 25.
Yes.
Every single one of them. And
yes,
I would argue this is
very
because
few.
we've got a culture.
Yeah,
Oh, Davis?
We've got a culture. Oh, sorry, my audio sucks. My apologies.
Yeah.
But I was going to say that what they're doing is they're programming everybody. You know, somebody in the comments pointed out that every 7 years you go through a major change in yourself. Like 7 years old, 14, 21, 28, which is where you really become an adult. 35, you become an old man, which is why I'm angry and drinking whiskey all the time, etc. And from the ages of basically like 20, like they want teenagers and young adults. And if you look at your average 40-year-old nowadays, they've got the emotional maturity of a 25-year-old at best, if not younger. And that's what they want. They want all these childish natural slaves that do whatever the hell they're told.
Well, yeah, I mean, part of it is simply that you got some sort of horrible echo on your end there. Yeah, part of it's simply that like nobody at Marvel knows how to write an adult because they're not adults. You know, it's that simple. You know, the best they can do is just hovering in its fucking.
God damn it, Luke.
But yeah, the best they can do.
I got to change it to my Facebook profile. Send that to me.
You should make it hit both his hands and one's red and one's blue.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, no one at Marvel can write an adult because no one is an adult, and the real adults at that company are gone. They're not. You don't see them writing anything or drawing anything anymore. I mean, you know, the Kurt Busieks and even the Tom DeFalcos, for all his faults, they're gone. They're just not there anymore.
Like, what's the best superhero comic book ever made? Isn't it it's the Batman I forget what the hell it's called, but Batman versus Superman, where the writer sat down and said, geez, I grew up reading Batman, and now Batman, I'm older than Batman. I wonder what Batman would be like as an old man. And that was the inspiration for the comic.
Yeah, The Dark Knight Returns. You know, and there's actually, I picked it up on a whim, but there's a series out right now called Spider-Man Renew Your Vows, which is like takes place in an alternate universe kind of thing where Spider-Man and Mary Jane are still married and they have two young daughters that are both like, I don't know, like little kids, not babies, but little kids. And they're started to develop powers, and basically like Spider-Man lets them go out on patrol with him, and somehow Mary Jane has powers. So it's basically a family of fucking superheroes at this point. And I was just amazed by it at how rare it is to see a family man portrayed in these books anymore. I mean, you used to see that somewhat with Fantastic Four, although Reed Richards was often a very poor family man because he was so insanely autistic. But an actual family man portrayed positively in one of these books just took me aback. You know, that's not a stage of life they ever portray.
I really like The Incredibles for that reason. And I think it's a bit, listen, I like Confused Matthew, but his anger over that movie, that it showed the difficulties of being a family man, of the emotional investment of a father, of what it's like to be, you know, quote unquote, a super in a world full of mooches and parasites. I actually really, really liked that movie. I thought it was an original take, well, fairly original for a paint by numbers Pixar movie aimed at kids. And actually, quite frankly, it was a hell of a lot more mature than any of the Spider-Man films I've seen in recent years.
One of the things I always liked with Wolverine that was a really good thing they did in the comics is they often shoehorned some sort of young girl that Wolverine ended up being a father figure to. In the comics, you had either Shadowcat and then later Jubilee, and then here recently X-23. That really, it highlighted a stage of life that so many of these books don't highlight. You know, just a man, you know, forced into this father role with a teenager essentially.
You know, I was just at the bookstore. I was just at the bookstore, spending money I didn't have on Earth Awakens, which is part of the. It's not by Orson Scott Card, but it's part of that whole Ender's Game universe. And one of the things I really love about those books is that the first one is all about this kid in battle school. Look, it's a precocious teenager or whatever. But the later books, they actually have Ender as an adult, where Ender, you know, he basically becomes a priest at one point. And it's about these different stages of life. Orson Scott Card really does have that sensitivity. And, you know, as a young reader, it's like, yeah, you want to read about the stupid teenager going on battles because you're going to self-insert yourself into it. But there's something to be said for actually having characters that grow and mature and can try and teach a younger reader. You know, I mentioned in the comments earlier, it really strikes me that like anime. I watch a decent amount of anime. I'm by no means an expert, but about 90% of it happens in high school, because apparently after you graduate high school, you just die and then try and pretend you were back in high school again.
There was actually a good theory about that. I don't remember who said it, but basically the reason why all that happens is because in Japanese culture, that is the only place where that kind of ability happens, because when you're an adult, you have adult responsibilities and you ignore all that stuff.
Have you seen what's it, Crawling with Love?
No.
No, I haven't.
It's not a hentai, although it references it constantly. Basically, all the Cthulhu aliens come to Earth because Earth has the best porn. And and it's this main character who's just this depressed, obedient 17-year-old kid about to graduate high school. And these two space monsters who are actually girls are trying to have sex with him. And then a 12-year-old boy starts trying to have sex with him. His father is completely absent because he's committing slow suicide at the office place. And his mother thinks it's just absolutely wonderful that all of this perverse lolly sex is almost happening in her house. And the whole thing is supposed to be a comedy, but it is the most terrifying version of the Cthulhu mythos I've ever seen. that this 17-year-old kid looks forward to the soul death of working in the office place, because it's better than this world where 16-year-old girls are talking about getting him pregnant.
Wait, what's this called again? Because I kind of want to check this out. This sounds good.
Nyarlathotep Crawling with Love. It's something like, if you look that up, you will find it. And I don't know, Dickie Reviews, that asshole, told me about it. And it's basically, it's kind of like a critique of the whole magical girl genre, where he's a 17-year-old kid who's, for some reason, he's chosen by destiny. But the girls are the ones defending him. And the girls are the ones with exciting careers. And the girls are the ones constantly obsessing about, oh, he's going to get me pregnant. And the 12-year-old boy, no, he's going to get me pregnant in the bum. And it is like your straight male has no place left in society aside from suicide by working yourself to death at the office just to get the fuck away from all of these crazy people. It's this indictment of Western civilization, you know? It's like, Lovecraft had nothing on this.
One of the Marvel stories I remember really liking, and something that really struck me, it was called Earth X, and it was around 99 it came out. It was like one of those, you know, because there's all kinds of alternate timelines in Marvel. So this was like that Dark Knight Returns. It was a possible future where, you know, several years down the road. And both Wolverine and Spider-Man in this world were washed up big fat losers, which was a really bold move for this story because, I mean, Wolverine and Spider-Man were their two most popular solo characters at the time. And they were like, we're going to make both of them just pathetic as shit in this story. Wolverine basically sits alone. Wolverine thinks he married Jean Grey, but it turns out he only married her clone because Jean Grey's actually dead. And he just sits like on his ever increasingly fat ass, just talking about all his glory days, you know, neglecting his wife. Spider-Man in this, Mary Jane has been, she's died of something. I can't remember exactly what. So he's a widower. and his teenage daughter, who's inherited his abilities, she actually has the Venom symbiote now, and has it completely under control. She has broken the Venom symbiote, and he blames.
That sounds like a great hentai game right there.
He blames the Venom symbiote for the fact that him and his daughter are distant, like it's controlling her, when really she's just disgusted at what a fat loser her father's become. And there's like one scene in there where he like runs up to her and he's like grabbing her and he's like, "Let go of my daughter, Venom." And she just pushes him away and goes, "Grow up, Dad."
Oh.
Cucked by your own daughter.
Yeah.
In space parasite.
Like, yeah, she not only has she like, you know, broken the will of this space beast that has bested you, but now she's just disgusted at what a loser you've become. It was such an incredible scene that just, you know, it really struck me as being something a lot more ballsy than Marvel will often do with their more mainline.
You know, let me riff off that. Let me riff off that a bit, because I think that that storyline sounds too familiar to me. And it feels like that's a storyline that's been getting drummed into the heads of fathers. And I think that would go a long way to explaining why Western fathers are so eager to be these uber feminists. Yeah, I support my daughter in the armed forces. Whatever you want to do, honey, even though you're doing porn, I support you. Because they are so... Men have been driven to such a point of irrelevance that they are desperate to have any sense of relevance. For the Japanese, it's working yourself to death in the office. For us, it's desperately supporting our daughters in any way possible, because women, you know, you turn on the damn TV and you've got Scarlett Johansson ninja kicking 12 guys that outweigh her by 120%, for crying out loud.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to put it. But again, what I thought was interesting was, you know, you took the two cool guys, basically, you know, the two most popular characters, and just showed these two guys basically just rested on their, you know, on their accomplishments and became big fat losers. Again, that was kind of ballsy for a book at the time, and yeah, Earth X is a really good read. There were a couple of sequels, Universe X and Paradise X, which are worth checking out too, but they're not as good. But Earth X is damn solid. Like, Iron Man had become this guy that's just like sitting in this fucking like room with fucking like all these control panels in front of him and fucking tubes everywhere and shit. Like, he's on death's door, but he's just controlling a bunch of Iron Man drones. Like, he's just become so completely lost in the machinery.
Well, at least it's better than Iron Man 3. He still has his own dick, right?
Yeah, it's a pretty good read. I definitely recommend checking that book out. And Alex Ross actually did both the covers and the character designs for like the new looks of the aged heroes and new characters that are introduced in it and whatnot.
I really like the body positivity on that Spider-Man there.
But yeah, again, you know, see, this was back then. If you showed somebody all fat, it's because you were indicating they were a loser, because comics actually wanted you to aspire to things. Whereas now we're going to have, you know, Faith, the super fat telekinetic superhero who gets the hot guy somehow.
See, having aspirations implies that you're not already special.
Yeah, really.
It implies that you should do something with yourself, that that, you know, you should rise above your life circumstance. And that's, you know, racist and classist and sexist and homophobic and fatphobic.
Oh, I can't wait to see the right-wing backlash to this in Next Generation.
Oh, man.
Well, you know what? There is a lot of this coming. I was trying to sit at the park bench and read my damn science fiction book today, and I got into conversations with two different young ladies. I about how terrible Trudeau is and what the hell are millennials supposed to do to sort themselves out, and everything's like total, I don't want to say red pill because that sounds even more autistic than this conversation about comic books, but like basically, you know, red pill type of conversations, you know, that there is. And right now I haven't published it yet, but I just wrote an article about the fact that millennials, I think like 20% of millennials actually have 6 months worth of savings in their bank account. Like you hear all these noisy retard Antifa losers, but the millennials, I mean, yeah, okay, they're idiots because they're kids. Kids are always stupid, but they've actually got a lot of stuff sorted out. I'm cautiously optimistic that there's a golden glow around the horizon that isn't a nuclear bomb.
All right. Well, on that cautious note of optimism, I think we're going to wrap this up for the night. I want to thank everybody for listening. Davis, thanks for hopping on. Argent, thanks for being on. Again, sorry I didn't get to callers. I will make a concerted effort to do that next week, and I'll try and even take in a caller or two over the little weekday shows. Real quick, before everybody hops out, I'm going to do a quick programming note, which I forgot to do. I made this announcement, but more people watch the Saturday show than the other stuff. So I am going to be sort of moving to VidMe. What I mean by that is if you watch the video, The Legend of Indiana Jones Mario, there's going to be a lot more videos like that coming exclusively on my VidMe page, because I don't want to have to deal with YouTube bullshit copyright or hate speech or any horse shit like that. Because if I end up with a strike, I wouldn't even be able to live stream for a while. The live streams will continue on here. Actual videos, though, will not. That will go to the VidMe page. So if you haven't already, check out the VidMe page. I think it's just like vidme.com/the and then _, and Beckloff. But check that out. Even if you just search the Beckloff on VidMe, you'll find it. That is where I'll be putting actual videos from now on, of which there will be many more coming down the line, with Artistic Layman doing the visuals, which he does a tremendous job, and thank you, Luke, for that's always appreciated.
No problem.
Yeah, there'll be a few more videos coming down. In fact, I'm going to be sending Luke some audio tomorrow that he can start working on whenever he gets a chance. So there'll be more videos like that coming on there.
Follow us both on VidMe too. And Davis.
Yeah, Luke's on VidMe too. Check him out.
Is that your picture? Is that your statue of Madonna on the shelf there?
Madonna? What are you looking at? That totally took me by surprise. I'm like, what is Luke got on the screen there? Yes, that's Madonna trying to kill Samus because.
Well, no, I thought that was Britney Spears in her, HIV medication armor.
Trying to keep Madonna at bay. But yeah, check out the VidMe page. Davis is on there. He has some videos. And look, VidMe is a lot more reasonable when it comes to copyright and that sort of shit. So, a lot of content creators, I think, may be moving there in the future, or at least being also there. So do support them. We can sit here and bitch about YouTube, but if we don't, seek out alternatives, YouTube has no reason to get better.
Well, if you don't mind me pimping for something similar, there's a new, basically there's a right-wing Patreon. I'm afraid I can't remember what it's called right now. But it's going like the like, for instance, me, I'm switching over to it, which don't worry, if you're backing me on Patreon, it's not going to affect you at all. No more than Whitney, Wisconsin, won't affect you. But you actually, like, we, the content creator, we will get a lower payout, but it's actually, it's developing funds to try and push a conservative, right, like whatever you want to call this, a free speech agenda. So like I'm going to put my money where my mouth is and take a cut in the amount of money I'm getting to go onto there. So that there are some very positive developments going. I can't remember what it's called right now, but guys, keep your ears open for that.
Yeah, and speaking of funding, if you enjoy the show, I do appreciate tips. Tip jar down below where you can just shoot me a couple of bucks on the PayPal there. I don't have a Patreon right now. I might set one up in the future, but for now, donations on PayPal are greatly appreciated. Even if it's just $1, that's that's just outstanding, folks. I appreciate that. And in general, as I often say, and this is not just me, but in general, it's a very good idea to support the alternative media you enjoy. Even if, I mean, look, if I had a steady job right now, I'd probably donate to like the Gaming Historian's Patreon or something, because I just love his videos. You know, if you want entertainment that isn't just the same schlock they're going to force down your throat on TV, support the alternative media you enjoy. So if you enjoy this show, you know, toss me a buck or two. That's great. I appreciate it. And that's all we got tonight.
People that are actually telling you how it is, and not the ones that are telling you what you want to hear to feel self-important.
And yeah, so
by which I mean the Beckloff.
Yeah, and make sure you give lots of shekels to the Beckloff too. Is I need at least 1488 shekels. I've had people send me $14.88 before. I've had somebody sent me $17.76 and had the Alex Jones quote. We're like 1776 will commence again. But yeah, seriously, even if it's just a buck, that's greatly appreciated, folks. All right, so that's all we got for tonight, folks. Thanks everybody for being on. Thanks for listening. Beckloff out.